So I'm going to get started, and then this is being recorded, so our members will be able to benefit later on. So Jody Ames is a dentist that I met through a few of our members, actually. I think it was Jason Stoner, I think, and Doug Heller, who introduced
Correct.
a while back. And he had this idea of coming up with this DDS United, which I'll let him tell you more about. What I know is that he is very, very innovative and really has helped a lot of dentists save money through working with a few companies like Dental City, which is where Jordan and Riley comes in. And Hannah on in my screen on the top right is kind of the backbone person with DDS United. And I'm going to let Jody take it from here. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and why our members should get involved with this buying group.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Dr. Farber. It's great to be here again, talking to your members, and you hit the nail on the head. Hannah runs the day-to-day operations and keeps everything in line, and we couldn't do this without her. I'm a dentist. I practice in Ohio. Friends with Dr. Heller, Dr. Stoner, and I presented this to them a few years ago with some groups that they're in. DDS United is a GPO, a group purchasing organization, or a buying group. It's a great way to reduce the cost of what you're paying. I saw a statistic yesterday. Actually, Dr. Stoner told me that production per office this year, revenue is down 11.5% year over year compared to last year. So everything that we're doing is going to ease your bottom line a little bit with the savings opportunities. Starting off with supplies, we have much more than that though. We have credit card processing. We have equipment specialists and maintenance providers now as a great solution. There's no reason to not participate with us. It's absolutely free, 100% free, no strings attached whatsoever. I told Dr. Farber I'd become quite blunt about this, and one of the questions I ask people is, would you rehire somebody in your office that stole from you? And most people, everybody pretty much says no. You have to not look back too far to see some practices that were done by some of the suppliers as far as being named in a price fixing allegation. And that's why I really created this. And I don't ever call them out. There was an $80 million settlement, so that should say something. But I looked for a company that wasn't named, and Dental City is a company that wasn't named. We have a great relationship. They've been a great partner with us. I was buying some things from them before I learned about that, and now I buy just about everything from them. The savings are immense, and I welcome you all to try it out. I'd pull out your phone while you're watching this, register on ddsunited.com, get to know Hannah, get to know myself, get to know Jordan and Riley. Jordan is the vice president of sales and marketing for Dental City. He has a webinar that's going to streamline your ordering process and show you exactly what we're talking about. But anything else we can help you with, we're happy to do so.
Thanks, Jody. So I'm going to share a screen here in a second, but just to give you a little bit of a idea of what we're going to cover, and I'll have Riley do a bunch of the talking as well. But Riley's our key account manager at Dental City, meaning she handles anything that's going to be done in special markets. So you have your GPOs and your DSOs and the different procurement platforms and technology pieces that are in the dental space today. That's really where Riley's an expert in. And we think that that's really important because it takes all that knowledge from all these different places that she works with and allows us to apply it right to the GPO business with DDS United. So thinking about things that your DSOs are doing, we get to look at some of those similar things and how do we make that happen for a GPO and the private practicing dentists that are taking advantage of what the GPO has to offer. The webinar that we're going to cover really talks a lot about the changing demographic of dentistry. So all of the information that is coming, all the data and statistics from this webinar are all coming through, his name's Marco, and he talks a lot about the data and statistics of dentistry. So that's all data that's been done the last couple of years, and now we're able to kind of present it, show it to you, and talk to you about what it actually means for your office, and then how that actually ties into why you'd want to join a GPO, what that GPO can do for you as the demographic changes in the dental market still. So I'm going to share my screen here 1 second, and then we'll get started.
It's good.
Good, everyone see it? All right, Riley, if you want to take this slide and just talk to us a little bit about what the ADA research finds behind how the dentist profile is changing.
Sure. Hi, everyone. As Jordan mentioned, I'm Riley. I've been with Dental City for about 5 years in the special market space. I focus on understanding the unique needs of our partners and customers to make sure and basically just meeting them where they want to be met. So with that being said, the dentist profile is changing. We've seen it since the early 2000s, but it really started rapidly changing during the pandemic. The older doctors were retiring, and more younger doctors were graduating from school and joining the industry. So we've seen a decline in the average dentist. This is important because with the new doctors coming, they're more technology focused. They're used to ordering on Amazon and getting things in 2 days instead of waiting for a rep to come in in 2 weeks and writing a list without actually understanding what they're paying. So the younger dentists are they're used to shopping around, used to ordering on various platforms.
I think that's also what you'll see. Not only is it changing for the average age of the dentist changing, but you're going to also see that with your dental assistants and your hygienists. It's kind of happening across the board, and a lot of it, like Riley had mentioned, due to COVID. But it's really rapidly shifting the dental market, and this is going to play into some slides that we have just ahead. So on this slide, one thing we wanted to point out is the demographic of the dentist profile is also changing. So the last couple of years, for the first time, there's been more female dentists entering the industry from college graduation than male dentists. So that demographic is changing quite rapidly as well, to the point that you'll see a 50-50 split, which is going to also impact the way that the dentists like to do business, and the way the likelihood of them also owning a solo practice. So that's changing quite quickly as well, and you'll see that in a few slides to come. Go ahead, Riley.
But like we previously said, younger dentists are they're graduating from school, but they're less likely to own their own practice just with being in debt. A lot of DSOs are actually helping them pay off student loans and helping with forgiveness. So younger dentists are more likely to at least start off at a DSO, and DSOs are usually more technology forward and have the technology backing to provide them solid data. So when and if they do leave the DSO to finally open their own practice, they already have a deep understanding of all of the technology available for them.
The other thing I'd like to point out on this slide is not only is it happening in the younger dentists that are coming out of school, where you see back in 2005, if you were a solo practice, if you were under 30 years old, there was a 25% chance that you were owning your own practice and practicing by yourself. Now that is just 9.5%. But not only is it happening in the younger dentists, you're also seeing that change take place, like even in the categories of dentists that are 55 to 64 or 45 to 54, where the likelihood of a dentist practicing on their own is far more unlikely than it had been just 15 or 20 years ago. So here's that solo practice percentage and that decline in the likelihood of owning or operating on your own. You go back to 2001, and 66% of the practicing dentists in the country were practicing in a solo setting. Fast forward to 2021, so 20 years later, and just 46% of the dentists in the country are practicing in a solo practice. One thing to point out, this doesn't necessarily mean that they're operating in a DSO. It could also mean that they're in a multi-dentist practice, which is becoming more likely. But all of this really does impact the way that a dentist purchases their supplies. It impacts the way they purchase their technology and the technology that's necessary for their practice to attract more associate dentists. So if you're looking to hire a dentist at your practice, you're up against a lot more competition and a lot more technology, forward competition, which is something we'll cover here in a second. In this slide, what we're explaining here is just by gender. So what's the likelihood of operating in a solo practice by male or female? So you have, back in 2010, 60% of males were operating as a solo practice, and now that's down to 51% on the female side of the equation, which again, remember, that is growing rapidly. 41% of females practice as a solo practice. That number is now 36.9%. So as more females enter the dental workforce, you're seeing that number grow exponentially, and now all of a sudden you're going to start to see the decline of solo practice operation really kind of take off. So by all age groups, that solo practicing, dentist is definitely declining, as you can see in these graphs here. In this slide, I like to just kind of explain, because it's a nice segue into what we want to talk about next, which is kind of the technology change and what that means to a practice. This is some information about actually how our dental offices that we work with at Dental City purchase. So to give you an idea, we've been in business for 31 years. We've been inside sales organization, meaning we don't ever enter an office. We've done all of that over the phone, or even more recently, a lot of it through either procurement solutions or through our dentalcity.com website. So never been a company that enters the office, always done everything over the phone for the last 30 years. Now, if you look at how our revenue is made up, you can see here that 80% of the transactions that we had taken place with us back in 2012 were done over the phone. In 2015, that number is still around that 80% mark. In 2016, it goes to 65%. And what this is just how those customers started buying from us. So meaning when they started with us in 2012, over 80% of them bought with us over the phone. Now you look at the data from 2022, and that number is completely split. In fact, people purchasing from us digitally has now overtaken people that purchase from us over the phone. So when we acquire a brand new practice, it's over a 50% likelihood that practice is going to operate with us digitally rather than operating with us in a more traditional fashion over the phone. This goes to the title of our webinar, which is really, that you don't necessarily have to have that person stopping into your office. It might not, there's times where that makes a big difference, especially if you're making a large purchase on, some big piece of equipment that really takes a lot of maybe some ingenuity when it comes to how it will fit into your practice. But those day-to-day transactions, those things that keep your office, running, those things can happen in a different, more efficient way. And that's what we're seeing people want to take advantage of here. Again, going back to the demographic change, as younger people enter the practice, they have grown up knowing only Amazon. That's where they receive, probably 50-60% of their goods. I will tell you right now, I just came back from vacation this morning. I kid you not, there were 6 packages on my doorstep that all came from Amazon. That's the way we purchase now. And that's what people are expecting in their office operations as well. So they want that personal consumer touch to carry over into the space where they operate their business. And that's something, as owning dentists, you need to keep in mind. And there's really great ways that you can bring technology into your practice at the same or close to the same price that you're seeing DSOs get it. And that's by partnering with someone like DDS United and taking advantage of that DSO type of pricing through the GPO. So we're going to get to that here in a second. So exactly what I just explained, how this impacts your practice. Really, you're implementing some of that basic technology at an inexpensive rate. But what it's doing is it's allowing your office workers and your patients to experience that technology in a different way. It's the expectation now rather than the norm. So people expect this in your office, including the people you go to hire or go to partner with. So here's some technology to consider. On the communication end, this is a DDS United partner, which is Patient Prism. Jody or Hannah, feel free to jump in at any time here to explain more. But what Patient Prism does is you'll see a number of the largest DSOs in the country take advantage of something like Patient Prism, which really analyzes those phone calls that are coming into your front office and working to really provide you feedback on how those calls are taking place. What is the experience of the patient on the other end? What is your staff doing to increase the likelihood of a customer or a patient, coming back into your office? What are they doing to make sure that the expectations are set? How are they collecting, from a payment perspective as well? So you have a lot of analysis going on automatically through Patient Prism and their AI features. Riley, do you want to cover Pearl and Overjet?
Sure. Pearl and Overjet it's artificial intelligence, which is a buzzword in the industry today. And they are able to detect cavities before the doctor can actually see it themselves. And it shows like what percentage it's at. And this is really beneficial because it helps with insurance reimbursement, because the data is all right there. The insurance company doesn't really have anything to argue against. So it helps get more insurance than ever before.
I think the other big thing too with that clinical AI piece and the Pearl and Overjet features are also your patient acceptance. So when you're explaining something as a doctor for a procedure that you're going to do, they definitely are trusting you as the doctor to make the right call, and then you can provide what is this AI telling you as well, and say, look, this is the computer and me as your doctor are thinking the exact same thing. So what they've seen, and Pearl has done a bunch of studies on this. It's a very interesting company. Pearl has done a bunch of studies on how patient acceptance has dramatically improved by presenting both the doctor's point of view and perspective, and then their AI perspective as well. Definitely something that is worth looking into if you haven't already. Jody, do you mind just covering a little bit about the Streamline scanner? I think it'd be great to hear your perspective on that.
Sure, I had to get unmuted there. So we have a great relationship with Streamline. We started in a small market in Ohio. They partnered with us. They've gone out to the practices, and Streamline also has ClearCorrect, Trios, biologics, but they focused really on the scanner with us, and they've reduced their price by 15 to 20% just for DDS United. So a lot of the signups now that we're seeing join DDS United start with purchasing a scanner, because the price that they're able to get by being a DDS United member is significantly lower, $6,000 to $8,000 on the Trios 5 even. And it opens the door for them to realize the savings opportunity on a broader scale with the supplies. So, they're going to save $6,000 to $8,000 on a scanner, but when you put that in comparison with supplies, we're typically able to save, a medium to a large size practice that same amount every month on supplies. So, it really hits home when you start annualizing the amount of savings opportunities that we have. And when you put those two together, it's astronomical. We do have some great lab partners as well that are typically saving 40 to 60% off of our costs. So it all goes hand in hand, right back to you. That money goes in your hand, and you can put it in your pocket or share it with your team.
So if you haven't signed up for DDS United yet, and you're looking at some of this technology that's being offered through GPO partnerships, you're able to save a significant amount on what that normal cost would look like. And if you're in the market for a scanner, step number 1, sign up for DDS United. Step number 2, put on that sign up that you're interested in connecting with Streamline, because it could be a really great opportunity for you to save on a purchase you're most likely going to make anyway. Just like Jody mentioned, you talk about supplies and supply costs. You're having to purchase these things every single day. And if you were to look at your average supply cost on a year, most offices are looking somewhere between $40,000 and $50,000. And if you could find a way to take 10, 15, even 20% right off the top of that with no entry fee whatsoever, it would be one of those things that you'd probably want to jump on immediately and compound that savings over time. And that's where Dental City comes in with our partnership with DDS United to really find those supply savings. One thing that I want to mention too is equipment maintenance and Uptime Health. Uptime Health has got some incredible products that they're working on, and one of those things is just all the different maintenance that needs to be tracked in your office. So you think about, it could be an autoclave machine, it could be something larger or even smaller. Like you could have to making sure you're managing your water line. Uptime Health gives you the solution to manage all of that, making sure that you're compliant. They have some of their solutions are free. and others do have a fee to them, but it really is something that's taking off, especially in the DSO space, and we're seeing that, you know, apply more and more to private practicing dentists as well. Another one to check out in the relationship with DDS United is Uptime Health. Not to mention what they are able to bring to the table when it comes to potential equipment savings, and then the solutions that they have for certain areas to fix your equipment as well. So something to keep on your radar, you know, if you're using one of the standard companies that are out there now to fix your equipment, this would be another alternative solution that would be great, along with a few others that DDS United has in place to really help keep up with your in-office maintenance that can save you thousands of dollars a year. Anything to add on that one, Jody?
I think you covered it pretty well.
All right, good. And the last one I want to talk about is that procurement, that Amazon experience that people are looking to really have in their office. And one thing I'll tell you, it might be surprising, but an average office is gonna spend 4 to 6 hours each month. Sometimes some offices it's every 2 weeks, 4 to 6 hours every 2 weeks in purchasing and really tracking their ordering of supplies. So again, going back to, we're talking about something that costs, you know, between 40, 50, or $60,000 a year, potentially spending that amount of time, that significant amount of time each and every week or each and every month in order to get those supplies ordered, and then also ordering them at a great cost. So what you're seeing pop up more and more are things like these ordering procurement platforms. I got a huge list of them here. And I'm putting them all out there because there's so many of them. So just to have a good idea of exactly what's coming up. Well, at Dental City, what we decided is these things are becoming so prominent, and we really think it's important for our offices to have a great way to order supplies. We decided to build our own, and what we built was something called Sherpa Dental. And what Sherpa Dental allows a practice to do is really order their supplies from all the different places they need to purchase them from, and take advantage of the GPO offerings in their pricing structure. So it takes and centralizes all of those different places. People are ordering from 6 to 12 different suppliers every single month, and centralizes that into one place, and allows your people that, you know, handle all the ordering for your office to log into one place rather than logging into 12. Place one order, which then takes that order and spreads it across all the different places that you need to buy those things from. On top of that, you're taking your GPO pricing structure, you're housing that in the one procurement solution, and you're allowing that to really manage that procurement, what needs to be done in your office as it comes to managing your supplies. This is something too we're developing and working on every single month. We'll have a release coming out here shortly that'll allow you to manage your budget. So you'll be able to manage your budget in there. There'll be an approval process. So if you have a person in your office that orders the hygiene items and you need that to go and flow through your office manager or through you as the doctor, and then you have another person that's handling your disposable products, and that needs to flow through you as the doctor, it'll shoot you an email. You can look at how much that order is going to cost you. You hit approve, and that order goes out. These are standard things on how DSOs are operating. Most DSOs don't operate without having a procurement platform in place. And this is something that's being offered to DDS United members at no cost. So DDS United members have access to Sherpa Dental, the procurement solution, at no cost, and it'll help really centralize all that ordering, put it in one place for you, and help that office, you know, operate a little bit more efficiently on that procurement side, where instead of spending 6 hours a month, maybe sometimes it's 4 hours every couple of weeks, to really cutting that in half, you know, looking at 2 hours a month, maybe an hour a month after you really get this thing set up and running pretty efficiently and smoothly. So wanted to really put that out there to the group and make sure you understand what some of the changes in dentistry are and what the expectations are out of the people that you're not hiring and the people that are coming to work at your office.
Great. I wanted to just throw a few questions out for people who haven't signed up yet, which I have no idea why they're waiting, but I'll keep reminding them. So I think, Jody, you and I talked about this a year ago. If they find, and maybe Jordan, you could help with this as well, if they find as a specialty practices, I know Dental City, a lot of us have bought for years, but they're more general oriented. So if we find certain products like certain suture companies, or I know membranes, bone, and implants, well, you have Straumann connected. But if there's certain products that or small surgical house that we're using, how do we try to connect? What should we do to ask you about these supplies, or speak to Jody or Hannah? If we come across, like, for example, Salvin Dental, as you know, I think got bought out by Young Dental now. So that's, if we want to, that there's certain similarities, or you carry certain other products similar to that for the surgeons and the periodontists in the group, for example, sutures, things like that.
Yeah, so we definitely carry some things, and we also understand, especially being a specialist, it's important that you get to work with the product that you want to work with. And our goal is not to make any changes, especially in those clinical supplies that are so critical to the way that you operate, right? So what we always encourage, and Riley does a great job of this, is saying, here's the clinical supplies that we definitely recommend that you continue using from who you're buying them from now, because it might be something that we can't carry. Now, here's some alternative solutions if you'd like to try them. And then we also do a great job at Dental City with our purchasing department, is when we get these recommendations from specialists, people that need it, we do a great job of going out and trying to source it ourselves. So if there are opportunities for us to actually buy that, begin stocking it, we will look for that opportunity as well. So I think the best thing to do is, have that conversation, speak with Riley, explain the things that you're purchasing today. Let us kind of dig through, do our work, and find out exactly where we might be able to save you the most money while not making any significant changes to the way that you operate. On the additionally to that, right, that procurement solution. You go through this, this task with Riley, and we find, hey, these 7 things you got to keep buying over here, and these 5 things you should keep buying over there, and these 3 over here, I think it's best that you buy them over here. Everything else you should get from Dental City. Well, instead of having to go and log into those other 5 places, let's just put it right in the procurement tool, and when your team goes to buy it, it's all in one place. It's all sitting there right in front of them. That's really what we wanted to do with that procurement solution, and I think we've done a pretty good job of that. So hopefully that helps answer your question, Dr. Farber.
Yeah, it does. And just for the members, how does it work with returns and shipping, the basic stuff?
Yeah, sure. So we're located in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So we do have 2-day shipping all across the country. So that's something that we, in the last, I don't know, Riley, what do you think, 2-3 months?
End of April. Mm-hmm.
So last few months, we've been 2-day shipping across the country. And we have, your standard return process. So I believe it's 30 days. If you have an issue with the product or something isn't working, there's no hassle there whatsoever. But we really don't run into many problems with people having, issues with the product. I think the best part about it is we're an authorized dealer. So if you're buying 3M, we carry 3M. If you're buying Kerr, we carry Kerr. If you're buying Dentsply, we're authorized to sell Dentsply. So it's all authentic, product, and we've been an authorized dealer for quite a number of years now. So we don't have too many issues on that side of things. Anything to add, Riley, to that?
We have a really trusted private label as well. Before we actually start carrying it, our purchasing team does test it and send it over to some of our doctor partners to make sure it is good enough to sell at a great price. But with that being said, sometimes it isn't the best fit. Sometimes our gloves are a little bit too thin than what they're used to. It's 100% satisfaction guaranteed. So we always say at least test it. And if you don't like it, reach out to us and we can find a solution that does work.
So along those lines, Riley, since you don't have somebody that comes in the office, and that's what some of my referring doctors ask me, like if they have questions about comparing composites or cements, or who would they reach out to in that situation?
Still their dedicated Dental City rep. We are product experts. We have ongoing training, and we have experts that's all they do is research the products and make sure they know all of the information. And the beauty of the changing industry is that Dental City was almost built for it. We have always been an inside sales organization. So while these offices are moving to technology and ordering online,
Mhm.
Our process hasn't changed at all. We're always behind the computer. We're there to help, whether they text, call, email, we're always there instead of being on the road going to office.
I have a question or a comment. Bobby, feel free to let me know if I'm reading this right. I've been using Dow City for a while, even before the last webinar. I think I signed up for any other perks after last time. How can I be sure that's all working out financially? We've been very happy with the service materials we have received from Dental City. So I guess the question is, he signed up for the perks. How does, I guess through DDS United versus just going direct to Dental City? How would he know? I think that's what he's asking, that he's getting the biggest benefit. Because I believe because I guess part B to this is I was speaking to a few referring doctors today, and they said, "Oh, I'm already buying from Dental City," and I said, "Well, I think it's better, and you guys should answer this. What's the benefit of going through DDS United instead of direct?"
Great question.
Sure.
So, Doctor, if you signed up through DDS United, Hannah would have sent us an application and you would have received some type of intro email from me. And if you were already working with Dental City, it's an even easier transition where all we had to do is put you under the DDS United pricing structure. And now you're automatically receiving the discounts and the manufacturer support that DDS United gets due to how many members they have.
So Riley, I just put his name directly to you guys, so you can check that out.
I just looked him up and he is a member.
Okay.
So we're good to go there. But yeah, kind of playing off of what Riley said. Also, hi everyone, I'm Hannah. I haven't spoken yet this webinar, but I'm the operations director at DDS United. Just wanted to kind of walk through and lay out the onboarding process for DDS United. Dr. Farber put the link to DDS United in there. It's as simple as going to our website, clicking join now. You fill out the registration form. And like Riley said, we work very closely with Dental City. So when you fill that out, I get a notification, Riley gets a notification, and we have an onboarding person named Whitney with DDS United that will reach out, give you a call, welcome you to DDS United, and then she'll send an email connecting you with Riley, and Riley is automatically creating your Dental City login credentials. So Riley will email you back with your login information to Dental City. So that way, when you log into Dental City, you're able to see the updated DDS United member pricing, and you can start purchasing right away. You can work with your rep there, however you like to purchase, if that's over the phone, text, however you want to do it. In Dental City, they also run free price comparisons if you want to try that out right off the bat, just to see how much you can save. And then I know a lot of other things were mentioned in this webinar. We're partnered with Pearl, we're partnered with Uptime Health, Strawman. So if you're looking to take advantage of any of our other partners, you can always put that in the comment box when you sign up, and I can get you connected with those partners as well. Or you can reach out to me at any time. I work very closely with all of our partners, so I can always connect you directly.
I think Dr. Farber, to answer your question a little further, like if you have referring doctors that you're saying, hey, you should check out DDS United, or if you yourself are like, well, I use Dental City already. I think one of the things that we've noticed over time is most offices are using, just portions of all of the benefit, right? So it could be that we use Dental City, but when you actually look at it, you might be using Dental City to buy your gloves and masks, right? That's kind of how we got our start anyway. So most people are using us at that level as it is. But there's just so much more to bring to the table, especially with the partnership with DDS United. Then you look at, you might be using Strawman, but are you using something like a Pearl, or are you using something like Uptime Health? So yeah, you might be using Dental City already. I think there's always a reason to explore what else is out there. And I think, to piggyback on what Hannah said, what we do really well is run those price comparisons, do a full-on, evaluation of your practice and where things really fit best for you, and then we're going to make the recommendations. And it's up to you if you want to use those. I think most of the time they're pretty good recommendations, but it can never hurt to go through that free evaluation and really get a better understanding of where your practice sits when it comes to supply cost and what you're doing as far as that goes.
I think one of the other things for the specialists in our group is to introduce it to their referring doctors, because if they're getting restorative parts from Straumann, this would really help them out. So if you're watching this right now, or if you're watching the recording, that's a good thing to share with your referring doctors. You're saving them money. I don't know if this is we have members now that are part of a DSO and they're kind of stuck ordering from Shine or other big players like that, and because I guess they really, if Shine's really worked very with these large companies, is there some way they could introduce the DSO to you guys, or how does that work? Like, do you understand where I'm going with this? Because we have members that are part of DSOs, and they're kind of set where they can order from.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always an opportunity, and most DSOs are going to explore those things on a fairly regular basis. You know, they're pretty savvy in those areas. So I think those introductions are always you know, we love them for lack of a better term. We appreciate them, and I think that there's ways to combine things like the offerings from DDS United and the work that they've already done, especially when you're talking about those, you know, small to mid-sized DSOs. It's a fantastic opportunity, you know, to work inside of that as well. So
great. While everyone's thinking of any more questions or comments, I just wanted to, and I don't know if I told you guys that we're doing our first live IADS event. Can you see my slide?
yep.
I think I shared this. We're doing our first live event, and I hope to see you all there right outside of Washington, D.C. this May of 2025. And I'll talk to you all about this further, but we just reserved the venue, and should be it's a Friday, Saturday, and our first live IADS meeting coming up. And then just before we wrap up, these are some upcoming events. For those of you who want to invite your referring doctors, we're going to do a replay, not a video replay, but a redo during the day. So this will be 1 p.m. Eastern, September 18th. We'll have the Jody, Jordan, and hopefully the rest of the gang. I don't know if Riley's coming back after her honeymoon. Well, I have to reach out and embarrass Riley. Happy upcoming wedding this weekend.
Thank you.
And so this is the last time you'll see Riley Berg. It'll be, I forgot her new last name, but next time you see it, it'll be changed. Anyway, we have some really great events coming up. So please mark your calendars, take a look at the website. It's just a little plug for upcoming events and our, I hope you can see that. Yes, here we go. Okay. Back to any other last, so this is a no-brainer for our members and guests. Unless you want to spend more money this year or the rest of this year, you got a few more months. You know, talk to Hannah, sign up. Once they sign up, they can go. That Sherpa product is really well done, and so once you go on, you can track what you bought last, what you paid last. It's just very functional, and I guess you're updating it constantly, upgrading it, so that's great. And I want to thank Jody, because she really did this sort of like I did IADS. It was more of love, not for the money, just to help other dentists get the right purchasing amount that DSOs and big companies were getting. So I want to thank Jody and Hannah for doing this. And Riley, sorry if I embarrassed you, but we're a real small group.
No problem at all.
Okay.
Well, we appreciate you and, you know, your introductions to all of your friends and your group, and, you know, we look forward to you know, a long relationship. And, you know, one of the things that I'll just add in there is, you know, basically what you see here is what you get. You know, there aren't too many companies that you can really pick up a phone or text and get the decision makers of the company. You know, you're typically going through a sales rep, or, you know, somebody who's just answering the phone, delegating where that phone call's going. So as everybody said, we all work closely together. You know, we're happy to figure out the best solution for you, your team. As a specialist, you know, once again, you know, take this opportunity, even if you're with a DSO, take this opportunity to introduce your referring doctors. They're your bloodline, and take care of them. It's just a great opportunity. We do have some live events as well. We'd love to see you there or your friends. You can go onto our events section. We have a great one coming up on 3D printing here next week. We work together and we help each other out.
Yeah, Hannah, I'll help you if you need help posting that on the site online. Thanks again, everyone. I'll see you next month, and I'll speak to you all soon. And Riley, congrats and have a great weekend. And Jody, let's catch up. Thank you for doing this. And everyone else at IADS members, don't wait, wasting time and money. Take care, everyone. Have a great night.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Doctor.